This
Recording.
conference will now be recorded.
It's that wonderful voice that tells us all that. Whoops, darn it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for BILD Calgary Region's COVID-19 site safety webinar web forum town hall. My name is Brian Hahn. I'm the CEO of BILD Calgary Region. There has been a lot of discussion around keeping our industry safe, and thus far the conversation has been focused on active construction sites. Today we want to shift our focus to other areas of the building industry like showhomes, design centers, and supplier outlets to learn more about the steps they've taken to keep the thousands of workers and customers in those spaces safe in this COVID-19 environment. This is the fourth session we've hosted, but we are looking at some new aspects of the industry. I expect many of you might also be able to use some of our new protocols and format, or might be also, new to our protocols and format. So for today's webinar, I ask that everyone except for the speakers mute their microphones. That way we can best ensure that we are able to have everyone hear the presenters. Also, to help minimize the load on the network, we ask that everyone except for the presenters turn off their video feed. You should still be able to see the presenters when it's their turn. In terms of questions for the speakers, the most effective way for us to undertake that is for you to type in your question using the chat feature of GoToMeeting. To the extent we have time, we will go through all the questions we receive and endeavor to get an answer for you. Please ensure in your chat question request that you indicate your name and the name of your company. This is so that we can ensure we get an answer to you in the event that you have to leave earlier than your question comes up or we run out of time. So with those preliminaries out of the way, I'm going to introduce our presenters this morning. After they are done with their respective presentations, we will do a bit of a Q&A with some questions we have for them, as well as any that you put into the chat feature for them. Our first speaker is the sales manager at Regal Building Materials and has been with Regal for 12 years. Regal are suppliers of quality interior finishing materials and hardware for new home constructions. He is currently a member of our board of directors, and if we could all applaud, which we can't, we would applaud for Mike Cundy. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. Our second speaker is with Qualico, specifically Sterling Homes and Pacesetter Homes. She's been with the group for 13 years, becoming their sales manager in 2017. She is currently co-chair of the BILD Awards Committee and also sits on the Economic Advisory Committee, and we're very pleased this morning to have Anna McLean with us. Our last and certainly not least of all speaker is the General Manager of Sales and Marketing for Showhomes. She joined them just last year in 2019. She's responsible for leading the sales and marketing and interior design teams at Shane, and she also sits on BILD's board of directors, and we're pleased to have Melanie Gowans joining us this morning. Thanks to all three of you for being with us today and agreeing to share your experiences leading your areas of your organizations through the necessary adjustments required by COVID-19. How you all go about your businesses has changed drastically in the past month or so, and obviously, like construction, employee and public safety are the primary considerations, and your concerns extend well beyond the construction site. With those introductions and preliminaries aside, I would like to turn the floor, if you will, over to Melanie Gowan, who's going to take us through some materials from Shane. And Melanie, if you're able to unmute your mic there, I will get to your...
Can you hear me?
Absolutely, Melanie, thank you, and good morning.
Thanks so much, Brian. Good morning, everyone. We made the decision to stay open for business and not reduce any of our hours or go to booking by appointment only. An important part of our strategy is not only to keep people safe, but to communicate what we're doing to the public. So some of the things that we're doing in our sales centers and design studio, probably very similar to what you guys are doing as well. We're only allowing one group in at a time, obviously physical distancing. We are offering every customer an individually bagged mask and glove set that they can use when they're attending any appointment, whether it be a walkthrough, possession, check set appointment, that type of thing. We are limiting the amount of people that come to appointments. We say up to 2, but we allow anyone on the buying contract to attend. We sanitize touch points before and after every interaction. This is something that the sales team has taken on as part of their positions that is very new to them. And really, I think the biggest thing is that we're offering an opportunity for people to communicate with us virtually. And this intent is just to lessen appointment times, giving everyone the tools that they need so that they're comfortable if they don't want to come in person. We're asking all the mandatory health questions, just like if you go to any other business, such as, if you've been around anyone who's sick, if you're feeling ill, that type of thing. We find that not everyone is super truthful. So sales has the opportunity to have them sign forms to make it feel like it's a little bit more legit. It's pretty interesting stuff that sales is going through that they've never had to go through before. Customers are not allowed to visit their homes under construction, which some customers are not super happy about, but it is what it is. And we have to, be clear and stand our ground when it comes to these rules in order to protect our employees and really the whole industry. So I would, if you want to play that video, Brian, I can speak to this video that we very quickly threw together in hopes to communicate with our customers. And this video really just explains most of the things that I just reviewed. But we had a lot of customers asking questions about if we were still open, if we were still building homes. So we wanted to put something together pretty quick.
And so, of course, the technology is always working class first thing in the morning. So if you just bear with me, Melanie, I'm going to refresh my screen in totality here and see if that helps. Let's give that a try. There we go.
So we're just showing, what reception looks like, just so people have an idea. This is a mock design appointment with our marketing team pretending to be clients. But it just shows that, when people are entering our sales centers and design studios, what they can expect. It also speaks to the fact that we're an essential service. I think a lot of people who aren't in our industry don't really know that, right? So as much as we are trying to keep everyone safe, like I said before, it's huge to get that communication out. We put these magnets on our trucks saying that we are working with Alberta Essential Services. It just shows some of our signage and the virtual opportunities for people if they want to stay home. And we found really good success with that. People are, they kind of actually want to deal with us through email or FaceTime or text, lots of texting. So, we're just giving them the opportunity and removing any obstacles that would be in our way to do business. So when people are entering the design studio, we ask that everyone wash their hands and not touch samples. Our design studio Sunday tour and browsing hours have been canceled until further notice. However, we did just recently do a Facebook Live with one of our very brave interior designers, and she did an amazing job. It was a 45-minute video so that our customers can still get, the service and the information that they require. I think that there's, this infographic is literally, I stole this from Lauren at BILD because you guys put that infographic together, and we just slapped something together and redesigned it really quick and easy, just to show people, what we were doing as a company to keep people safe. So I think the message here is we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think that we can share, especially when it comes to safety. I think the competitiveness, we can drop that right now. I think as an industry, we need to stick together and get this message out that we're doing everything we possibly can to keep employees and customers safe across the board. That's it for me.
Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate your remarks this morning. I'm going to now turn things over to Anna. Anna, perhaps you'd just like to lead us through how Sterling and Pace Center Homes have managed to keep the doors open in this COVID-19 environment.
Of course. So good morning, everybody. We've made a decision of actually closing our sales centers as of March 21st and go to appointment only. We've communicated with our customers through our website and through our social media just to let them know that we've made that decision. And the reason to why we've made that decision is at the core of our company is really the philosophy of doing the right thing. And we felt based on feedback, we were doing the right thing for our partners, our customers, our employees in the community. We really feel that it did not put us at a disadvantage at this time because we have increased our virtual presence, ensuring that customers still are able to communicate with us. So what we've asked our sales team to do is obviously they're available at all times. They will contact the customers that they're working with. They will ask them qualifying questions if they would like to set up an appointment. And those questions would be, have you traveled out of the country? Have you been in close contact with somebody who's returned out of the country? And of course, are you experiencing any symptoms or been exposed to anybody who has been a confirmed case of COVID-19? The important thing for us really is to, once we do have customers who do want to come for an appointment, is to adhere all the regulations set by this particular municipalities. We build in Calgary and Chestermere and Cochrane and Airdrie and Okotoks and Springbank. So we want to make sure that we're cognizant of the municipal requirements. Some of the municipalities have very outlined quite clearly how many people can be at an appointment. Obviously, we provide hand washing stations. We continue to clean our show homes on a weekly basis and sanitize any surfaces that have more exposure. Even though our sales centers are closed, it's very important for us to maintain that overall cleanliness. Our sales team are still welcome to go and work out of the show home if they need the resources, but we remain by appointment only at this time. Some of the things that we've done as well is if we do, we provide videos. So we've uploaded, Brian, if you open our website, I'll just kind of show a couple of examples here. So what we've done is if you just close out of that, I apologize, I was having computer issues this morning. So what we've done is we've really tooled our website to educate people on the current environment. So right below our main page there, sorry, I think you were just there. I'll wait for a second. So what we've done is we've really tried to create a great customer experience with people interacting with us virtually. So we now offer virtual show home tours. So if you, Brian, sorry, if you just scroll up a little bit right in the middle there, you can click on, you don't have to click on it, but if you wanted to, you can book an appointment online. It will ask you some questions, some qualifying questions that will be sent directly to our team then, depending on the area that you are looking at. And then also we have done virtual tours of all our show homes, so customers can walk through any of the homes at pretty much from the comfort of their home, which we feel has been a great advantage because people can literally feel like they're there. And then we've also, obviously as a builder, we offer a lot of quick possessions and we're proud to do so. So what we've done is we've actually created videos for all our homes that are quick possessions. So people can actually go through the videos and see if that home would be of interest to them. Our sales team has been also amazing at touching base with all the customers, and if they particularly want to walk a property or if they have any specific questions after viewing the video, they will actually set up a FaceTime meeting with them right on site if they're not comfortable coming in or any of the questions were answered as a yes, sorry. And what they'll do is they will walk them through the house individually and show them any features they want to see as a customer. We've worked with all our trade suppliers as well, and each one of them has an outline and a guideline. We've educated our sales teams on what those are so they can set the proper expectations for our customers who are going through selections. We've also implemented a complete capability of us doing purchase agreements online, so we can implement DocuSign signatures, we can do IDing over FaceTime, we can do Zoom meetings or any format that customers feel comfortable with to really facilitate a successful experience. For MLS listed properties, same thing, we maintain cleanliness. We ensure that our realtors took due diligence in terms of making sure that they're wiping surfaces. If need be, they will go and turn on all the lights so the customers can go through the home safely. Our biggest thing is really to accommodate an environment when customers feel safe in, and our team members feel like they've qualified the customers they're meeting with, and they themselves feel safe as well. One of the things we've also implemented is a chatbot to our website. It's not a unique feature, many builders have it. What's unique about our chatbot is it's actually run by our team members locally out of Calgary. So any interactions people have with us will actually be answered by the specific team members. We do allow visitations of homes under constructions. We do ask our customers that they limit those visitations to as little as possible. However, our sales teams, again, are equipped to take the customer through their homes under construction virtually. So they would go to the house, they FaceTime them, and they take them through. And then we do feel that we're learning, but we want to be cognizant and respectful of everybody's expectations while we continue to do what we do best, which is doing the right thing for everyone involved. We definitely feel that there's lots of people who may still be in the market to buy a home regardless of the environment. So we want to make sure that we're educators in the industry. We provide lots of resources for them to look through. And if they're still wanting to buy a home and it's the right time for them and their family, then we're here to support them in any capacity they want to be supported. We've also been working on creating and providing educational content through all of this, so people have the resources if they need to ask questions regarding financing, qualification, job loss. Again, we become a resource to all of that. I think that's pretty much all I had from my presentation. So, sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention is our sales team and the management team continue to meet virtually on a regular basis. We really believe that this is a very challenging time we're experiencing, and typically salespeople, being one myself in the past, really like that we're social beings. So we continue to support each other. We talk pretty much every single day and try to come up with creative ways to find success, whatever that means. So we definitely have not missed a beat, changing our, I guess, business model just slightly to accommodate the times we're in. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much for that, Anna. I'm just going to go back to our main screen here, and Mike Cundy, if you can unmute your mic, it's we're pleased to welcome you here this morning and turn the floor as it is over to you for your remarks this morning. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so we've looked at things similar to what Anna and Melanie were saying. We, on March 16th, closed our showroom and our front desk to the public. We have taken steps to try to minimize the amount of staff that are coming into the building on any given day. Our little niche of the supply sector has been one that's typically been resistant or slow to add technology as a utility. But with this, working from home has been an essential tool for us. So we've carefully looked at each of the roles of the staff here, and we basically paired everyone off so that we would have a 2-day on, 2-day off system where there'd be a team A and a team B, and if anything were to happen, then we'd be able to step back in and maintain continuity of supply. Along those lines, with basically shutting our showroom and our front desk, we've applied signage to the front of the building. We're still maintaining a pickup program. So we see a lot of people pulling up in front, reading the sign, making a call, and then basically we direct them to the appropriate warehouse to pick up whatever they're looking for. Regal has always been more of a delivery-based company, and I think a lot of suppliers are. So one of the main challenges we saw was maintaining social distance while still sending a safe number of employees to perform a task. So what we've done is we've tried to tailor our deliveries so that ideally one person could take care of it on their own. But in the cases where two people are needed, we will send sometimes 2 trucks. And then when there's 4 or 5 or 6 people needed, we deal with them on a case-by-case basis. We've equipped all our staff with masks, and everyone has had their own hand sanitizer bottle, which we've got a refill station, and they can take it around with them and just make sure that they're always able to sanitize as they go. 1 second here. So we've actually been contacted by OH&S. They were doing just standard monitoring and talking to a lot of the other supplier partners and friends in the industry. A lot of people got these calls. They wanted to know that we were adhering to the letter of the law, and we let them know that we were actually going above, and they were very happy to hear that. We've also taken measures, having our cleaning staff come in and they sanitize the whole building and all the inside of all the trucks every weekend, doing whatever we possibly can to make sure that every hard surface and every contact that our staff have to come into, it will be a sanitary one. In addition to standard deliveries to single family homes, we do a lot of work in the multifamily realm, and just stuff that I've noticed that has helped us, and also just kudos to our partners, our builder partners. Things that I've noticed is stairwells, for instance. You've got one stairwell going up, one stairwell going down to maintain the distance. At all possible, if building schedules are able to have one trade throughout a floor, then they get the floor for that day or that set of days. Many items that I really did enjoy seeing there. And the last thing that we did at Regal to really make sure that we were staying to the letter of the law was one door in, one door out health screening. So we've locked every door on the front of the building, and all staff, when reporting in, have their temperature taken and fill out the survey, and we screen as closely as we possibly can. With this, we hope that we would catch something before it ever got into the building. But I believe that's all I have. That's all I have there, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, and everyone for sharing your undertakings in COVID-19. We're very grateful that you take time out to do that. A big part of this morning, of course, is going to be the to and fro that we hopefully can ignite here with those that are online. Once again, to the extent you have questions, would be grateful if you could put them in the chat feature. We have one so far, but put them in the chat feature. I do have a few questions myself just around the presentations this morning, and just get a little more color from each of you on some of the things you're doing. I'm going to start with Melanie and Anna, and maybe Melanie first, and then Anna, you can add your thoughts as well. Certainly asking customers about their health isn't a typical part of the job that you undertook or your staff, and certainly not likely ones customers have been used to answering, and some may find it uncomfortable. What specific steps have each of you taken in your respective organizations to make that transaction and those questions easier for staff and customers to share?
Great question. Like I said, sales is not used to doing this. I think, well, we're not used to any of this, right? But I think that they've done a really good job in taking on that challenge. I mean, they want to keep themselves safe as well. So we've outlined, very clear questions and really just policies, I guess, that we've sent out to the entire organization. So they know, exactly what they need to ask and exactly what they need to do in specific scenarios. I think they're kind of getting used to it now. I mean, even customers are getting used to being asked these questions no matter where they go. It's not just in our industry. I think the first little bit was a little bit odd, and people felt maybe intrusive when they were asking these types of questions. We've actually found that we need to get a little bit more specific with what we're asking, because people are getting used to those main 3 questions, right? So now we're diving in a little deeper to see, you know, exactly what have they experienced. Are they just feeling unwell, or do they know anyone with COVID specifically? Have they been in contact or like living with them, that type of thing, right? With current customers, it's a little bit easier because our salespeople know, you know, maybe where they work or you know what they're doing, because they're in constant contact. They've already sold them a home and they're working on building it. But I would say overall, you know, we're kind of getting used to it.
Thanks, Melanie. Anna, your thoughts?
I think the big thing about it is it's everybody's experiencing it at the same time. Every morning when you turn on the news, it's being talked about. You know, it's in every environment. Stores are closed. It's really affected the way people live. So I think as long as we're, you know, we pride ourselves in being educators. So as long as we tell people why we're asking these questions, we haven't had any issues with that, because I think customers, just like ourselves, want to make sure that they're coming to a clean and safe environment. And because it's happening to all of us, they understand and respect the fact that we want to work with them to ensure that, you know, we're providing them the environment they want to be in. And that's keeping us safe and it's keeping them safe. So I think we're all on board and we're just working together through the changes. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen, but the best we can do is adapt to it as quickly as possible and make sure that, you know, if we don't have the answer at the time, we know where to find the answers, but we haven't experienced any challenges. People are actually being very respectful of the fact that we're taking these precautions to protect themselves, to protect them and ourselves.
Thanks, Anna. Mike, I'm going to toss one of the questions in the chat over to you to start with, and then maybe Melanie and Anna can clean up on it. You spoke in your remarks about masks and hand sanitizer, and I know some companies are having some challenges in terms of masks and other supplies. And in a prior session, we talked about the used to be copper theft that everyone was worried about on job sites, and now it's sanitizer theft. Maybe you could just talk about where you're finding sourcing for masks and sanitizer supply. And I noticed, Melanie, in your presentation, you had your staff wearing masks, and I expect as folks are coming through your sanitizing operations as well. Maybe Mike, kick off with you and then have Melanie and Anna just follow up on where you're getting your supplies.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it hasn't been easy. Fortunately, as part of our PPE at Regal in our mill shop, masks are standard. And so we've had, luckily, quite a few on the shelves. They got us through quite a slow time, or a time where we weren't able to source them. But recently we've gone through some of the cleaning supply distribution companies. And that was just one thing that came to us. There was actually a 5-gallon pail of sanitizer that we were able to procure, and buying refillable bottles was just something that made sense because it was impossible to get the pumps at the time. I'm certain that, you know, they'll be more available as we move forward, but you know, the sanitary or the cleaning supply companies, Greg Distributors, for example, would be someone that I would check into.
Thanks, Mike. Anna, do you want to take the second crack at that?
Sure. So we've provided, obviously, if because our sales centers are closed currently, they're just going by appointment only. If our sales team do decide to go to an appointment, some of them have their own masks that they're using. But if they need supplies, we've been able to kind of round up, and anything we can find, we gather. So we're just networking and trying to find whatever we need. Our cleaners are obviously supplying their own when they're cleaning our show homes and sales centers. We do have some sanitizing wipes that we can offer our team, as well as latex gloves, and we haven't really had a lot of issues obtaining the materials, but again, we're not really buying it in bulk, but we have enough to go around right now.
Thank you, Anna. Melanie, your thoughts?
We are all over this because we are open and we are offering these, gloves and masks to our customers who are coming in. And it's not just sales center traffic, it's for every appointment across the board. I think the biggest thing that we are doing that is working well is we're not just leaving this up to one person to get these materials or these supplies. We have many people in the company who are constantly looking for masks and gloves, and it's kind of a funny topic to talk about because it's like, who's able to get this stuff? It's been a struggle, but we've found a few online providers that were able to get us supplies quickly as well. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of supplies available. It's just, when are you going to get them, right? So we've got probably 7 or 8 people constantly looking to make sure that we have everything we need.
Thanks, Melanie. It's interesting. I can't remember which one. I think it was you, Melanie, that mentioned that what used to be considered competitiveness is now seen as important to collaborate, because we all recognize the privilege that we've been granted to be designated as an essential service, both on the construction and the real estate side, or the transactional side. And that requires, or that necessitates, that we'll probably be judged by our most marginal performer. And so it's let's try and have a rising tide raise all boats. And you can see in the chat already everyone sharing opportunities as to where to get hand sanitizer. So that is greatly appreciated. Just one of the things that I just wanted to just chat about, Mike, and maybe give you another chance. You talked a little bit about how you were in a non-technology environment, and we heard a lot from Anna and Melanie about technology. What additional efforts have you had to make to help your staff adapt to a much more technological-based transactional world?
Well, setting VPNs up work from home was the biggest step. It was a fairly sizable investment for us, taking 50% of the office and making them capable to work from home. In addition to that, it's just never been more evident that social media is the way of communication and information transfer. We've had to be much more diligent there, as well as just updating our website, and we just see the investment as something that's not going to change as we move forward. The new abnormal will be, more tech-based, more phone communication. By phone, I mean smartphone. So yeah, that's. I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. And as more becomes available, even things like online sales, which haven't been really something we've been able to do, maybe something that we're going to be delving into.
Thanks, Mike. For each of you, another question. Certainly, in the experiences I've had in buying the homes that I've lived in over my life, it's a very tactile experience. You kind of get in touch with what you're buying by touching it. And in the appointments that each of you have with specific customers, of course, people want to touch everything. How are you balancing the need of people wanting that tactile experience very much to be present in the purchase, if you will, with keeping everyone safe? And maybe, Melanie, I'll let you have the first try at that one.
I think the biggest thing is that and we've got a lot of virtual communications out right now. We're definitely not suggesting that that's the only way that they communicate with us. But if that's what they want to do, right, we're just offering them different options. So that's why we're remaining open as well. People want to come in and see the show home, and they have one visit, but then the rest of the communication is done virtually, then that's great. So it's really up to the customer. We just want to offer them several different options throughout the buying process.
Thanks, Melanie. Anna, your thoughts?
Sorry. I think technologically, people have the ability to really understand what they can expect. And again, the 3D tours and such are not unique to us or not unique to any builder. But, the personal interaction, being able to meet the customer on site and walk them through it is a little bit more personal. If people still want to come in, of course, we're going to accommodate that. We're going to ask them to refrain from potentially touching things because we want to make sure that it's safe for everybody else. And if people do come into the show home, all the lights will be on. We're really going to minimize them having the ability to touch a lot of things. And if they do, we're going to sanitize the surfaces afterwards. Again, it really comes down to the comfort of the customer. But I think with social media right now and just technology that's available, you can communicate pretty much everything to the customer. And if they still have the need to come in, we can accommodate an appointment. And by choosing to go to appointment only, we're a little bit more flexible in terms of timing as well. So if a customer wants to come in at 10 a.m., that's something that our sales team will be happy to accommodate for them. So we haven't had any challenges with that whatsoever. If people need more, we're here to accommodate whatever their needs are.
Thanks, Anna. Mike, do you want to take a turn at that
pleasure.
one?
Yeah, I just got a couple things to say on that. As our builder partners are still open for appointment, as you've just heard, a key thing for suppliers is making sure they've got what is needed to show off the wares. No matter how far technology does go, it is very important that a customer is able to put their hands on a tap or a doorknob, feel the flooring they're going to buy. And because our showroom is not open, making sure that our builders are fully equipped with what they need to show off the wares on a safe schedule is something we focused on. But we do still have a strong, retail presence to the public. And with that, we've adapted a drop box at the front of our front door, which used to be our front door main entrance. And we'll put together sample packages, brochures, whatever you need based on a phone call or an email. And people are more than welcome to come pick that up and be able to put their hands on some of the products at least.
Thanks, Mike. Much appreciated for that answer. There's a couple of questions in the chat there that I just want to get to here. The first one is from John Napton. Is OH&S considering masks, gloves, and hand sanitizer mandatory PPE, therefore to be supplied by the employer, or are they supplied by the employee? I might just kick off the conversation on that. Certainly hand sanitizing materials seems to be an expectation of all sites to make them COVID-19 safe. The ability to wash your hands and stay clean and sanitize surfaces is an important one that employers need to look after. I think beyond that, there is this notion that safety is a shared responsibility between employers and employees. I haven't heard anything specific with respect to masks at this point, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's something that we encounter down the road. And maybe given that kind of preface, just the group starting with you, group's thoughts rather, starting with you, Mike, in terms of masks, gloves, and hand sanitizer.
Well, so far on that list, gloves are already something that we supply. They're not the gloves you'd think of. They're actually more material handling gloves. So we've got those going already. Hand sanitizer, whether it's considered mandatory or not, I believe it's business's responsibility to provide that, whether dictated or not. And masks, as they become available, I would say that is just good practice. I don't think it needs to be told to do that. But I guess until it's mandated, you can't enforce employees to wear them. But making them available, I think, would be the right choice.
Thanks, Mike. Anna?
I would say that we're working collectively to ensure that everybody has the proper PPE. So we have some people who had it, and then anybody who does not, we're working together to provide it. Some people, we had a couple of people come up and say that they're allergic to latex gloves, for example. So we're trying to find other things that would work for them. So we, again, want to be cognizant of everybody's situation, but anything that they need, we would be able to provide for them as a business unit. And like Mel said, it's not one person's job, it's collective. So if anybody goes and sees, soap, then we'll purchase the soap and make sure everybody has enough. We haven't really struggled with finding what we need, but that's again because we're working as a team and all looking for it to collectively. And then in the office, obviously, we're constant cleaning. Our cleaners are doing cleans every day. There's sanitizing stations, hand washing stations, all of that is taken care of and provided by the business units.
Thank you, Anna. Melanie?
I think you guys pretty much covered off the basis. We just have to make sure that everyone's working together to get the supplies needed. I mean, it is our responsibility as an employer. It's not the employee's responsibility. However, if they see something, they can purchase it and expense it.
Thanks so much, Melanie. Just while we're on the topic of OH&S, there's a few things that I would just like to have our speakers share their perspectives on. Certainly one of the things, if OH&S comes calling, and Mike, it appears you've had that experience, is the demonstration of diligence. And I'm just wondering how you're capturing these surveys of health that you're doing both for your customers as they come in to visit you, but also a fitness for work survey in terms of your employees and their interactions as they come in and meet with customers and interact with other employees. And maybe we'll go in reverse order, and Melanie, you can have the first go at that question.
Sorry, I just had a technical difficulty. Can you repeat the question real quick?
For sure there, Melanie. Just talking about documentation of diligence. Mike talked about OH&S giving him a ring and just asking about what they're doing. And wouldn't be shocked if OH&S visited a few sites, both kind of sales approach sites and as well as construction sites. What is Shane doing in terms of its documentation of diligence and the forms of confirming that customers who attend sites are healthy and the employees are fit for work when they come in?
We document for our own purposes, not really for anyone else. But if they came calling and wanted to see that information, we would be happy to share it. We're not taking temperatures or anything like that at this point. We're trusting our staff to make the right decisions and not show up to work if they're feeling ill. We are asking, and I'm really leaving this up to sales right now, that if they feel like someone's not being truthful, because we have actually run into that, it's unfortunate that some people are in fact not taking it seriously. So they don't really, they're not really taking it seriously. So it's unfortunate that they're putting their needs in front of our employees' health. So it's up to them if they want them to sign any documentation. So we actually have a form that they can sign that I mentioned earlier. That's just, it seems a little bit more like it's taken more seriously. Those documents don't go anywhere, but I think that it helps sales be a little bit clear and just make our point, stand a little bit more. So if anyone wanted to see that documentation, it would be fine. And we file everything with all of our policy information as well.
Thanks, Melanie. Yeah. Mike?
Yeah, document. Whether they do come and ask for it, you've got to have it. Our process when we do our health screening, the one door in, one door out, we do take temperature. We do ask the standard questions where have you been in the last 24 to 48 hours? Have you been in contact with anyone? It's very simple, very short, but we record it, file it, and maybe that might be a deterrent for someone who was on the fence about whether they were fit for work. Yeah, that's the only thing I can recommend.
Anna, what are your thoughts, and what's Qualico doing?
Well, Qualco is definitely a leader when it comes to safety, so we're adhering to everything mandated by the government. As it comes to sales centers, which is what I can speak for, again, our salespeople are absolutely empowered. If they set an appointment with somebody and the person was not truthful about how they're feeling and they're noticing that, you know, they're not well, they have all the power and the ability to say, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to conduct this appointment. We're trying to be trustful as well, because I mean, that's what is being mandated across the board. And then anybody, if they're even feeling ill or having any symptoms, we recommend 811, and that's what we've been doing. Is essentially we're just following the government mandate, and whatever 811 recommends that they do, that is what we'll be respectful of. So if they say please stay home, then we 100% will be making sure that they stay home and do not come in contact with anybody else.
Thanks, Anna. There's another question in the chat, and we've sort of covered this a little bit, but maybe we can just directly answer this particular question from Ryan. And I'll let you have first crack at this one. Do you suggest disposable masks for employees, disposable or reusable masks for employees?
I would say it's discretionary for us. Like, we're not mandated that people wear masks. I know that some of our some members on our sales team feel a lot more comfortable wearing masks, and they do. I mean, that's up to the individual, but we've never tell a customer that they have to wear a mask, because we've pre-screened them, qualified them. Of course, and during any appointment or interaction, we're practicing social distancing, and any pens that are used or anything that's been touched is being sent back with the customer. So if there's brochures, similar to what Mike said, we prepare a package for them to take home with them. There's really nothing that's staying behind that's been touched by multiple people, but at this point, we're not mandating a mask, no.
Thanks, Anna. Melanie, do you want to take a crack at that one? Looked like you had in your videos that you had disposable masks for employees.
We do. Yeah, that's for employees and for customers. So it's really up to the individual, like Anna said. We're using disposable just because we think it's better to kind of discard what we're using and not reuse something, just to make sure that we're being sanitary.
Thanks, Melanie. Mike?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're doing. If you've used the disposable masks, they can get pretty sweaty. There's no way to clean them. I think disposing is the only way to go. Higher grade N95 masks, a lot of them have a plastic liner that can be cleaned and the filter is replaced. But again, those aren't readily available, or I think absolutely necessary at this point. Masks are just a way to show that I'm protecting you and you wear one to protect me. So I would think disposable would be more than sufficient without really heavy investment.
Thanks, Mike. There's a question from Randy Jones, and then I have a couple other ones to kind of wrap up with. Randy, you've asked, how are you dealing with the use of tools on job sites when they are being used by multiple workers? I think, Randy, what I would refer you to, as opposed to this group, is some of the materials that BILD has on its website, COVID-19. There are protocols in the job procedures there around sharing tools and sanitizing tools, so I might refer you to that. There's another question from John Napton from State. When we hopefully ramp up in the fall, supplying all our students would be a massive and expensive undertaking, and I think he's saying, reading into it a little bit, John, and correct me if I've got it wrong, but what support can industry assist with in terms of masks if they continue to be required out into September? And if I haven't captured that correctly, John, just punch another question into the chat, please. So, and maybe this is a chance for each of you to just talk about your support for the educational institution. So Melanie, I'm going to let you have first go with that one.
For educational institutions, in support in what way?
Well, I think they're concerned about if they have to provide safety masks for their apprentices and the like, what kind of support would industry be potentially amenable to? and how that could maybe be leveraged both in educating what has been the traditional curriculum, but also now the COVID-19 curriculum, if I can put it that way.
I think I might pass it to someone else actually, just to see what.
Mike, we'll let you have the first go at that one.
Yeah.
Well, other than so there's a few things actually. I mean, not all of them are directly a supplier or my involvement, but as far as educating the students, young and up and coming, I know a lot of builders have programs where they're bringing on high school and university students and trying to get them into the trades, just supporting them in that sense. Basically, 50% of our employee base, 40% of our employee base would all be in that realm. As far as sharing information, as far as bringing masks in and sharing where we got them, sharing anything, we do that. But, you're right, it is an expensive endeavor, and hopefully it's not something that we're really going to have to delve into for too much longer.
Thanks, Mike. Anna, any additional thoughts?
It's a little difficult for me to comment because we typically don't, on the sales side of things or the marketing side of things, we don't really do a lot of work, unfortunately, directly. But I know that our company does work with state students, and we work with high school students in supporting them. So, I mean, it's really depending on what the situation yields, but I know that we'll do our best to support them however we can. But I mean, talking about September, we're really unsure what the environment will look like in September. So it's a great question, but I don't, unfortunately, I can't really answer it to my best ability just because it doesn't affect our department directly. So I apologize for that.
Thanks for that. A couple of wrap-up questions. There are two ticklish ones here, and this probably really is focused in on you, Anna and Melanie. How do you handle customers who might not be as inclined to follow the rules as they need to be, and show up with too many people or are very touchy? What training tools have you given to staff to handle those challenging situations? Maybe Anna, I'll let you go again, and Melanie, back up on that one.
To use the best discretion they have to handle the situation. So there are certain municipalities that limit how many can be home, and obviously depending on the space, we want to put a limit to that as well. So what we would ask them to do is maybe only a few people go in at a time and have a look. Trying again, when we set the appointment, we ask them how many people are coming so we can set the right expectation. And if they say there's 10 of us right up there, we'll say, well, able to accommodate an appointment for 10 due to social distancing regulations. So we're really screening that up front, the right expectation. If for whatever reason that's not the reality once our team member gets there and all of a sudden they're seeing that what's happening, reality is not what we're expecting, then we have every capability to manage it and say, as per our discussion, we'll not be able to make an appointment for all the time. Again, at the forefront of all of this and at the core of all of this, ensuring everybody's being safe. We're providing the best environment for that. So they're 100% empowered, and if they need any sort of guidance, they can reach.
Thanks, Anna. I think we're struggling.
My partner, and we'll.
I think we're struggling a little bit with some bandwidth issues here, and it's diminishing our quality. I'm going to give Melanie kind of the last chance, if we can, here, just on that question, Melanie. And then
yeah, absolutely. We are running into that issue, even though we ask the same questions that Anna referred to on how many people are coming, and we call even the day before just to confirm, to make sure it's clear with interior design appointments and sales appointments. We still have people showing up, too many people, especially in certain areas of the city. So we're enabling everyone to take it upon themselves that if there's too many people, they have to, they can tell them to wait outside. Essentially, we've been doing that quite a bit in certain circumstances. People are showing up to walkthroughs with 8 people, showing up to interior design appointments with 5 or 6 people. So they're asked to wait in the car. We are offering that we can FaceTime them from within the appointment if necessary, if that's something that they want to do. But you know, we haven't had any issues with it. I think that they are excited to come to the appointment, and they're not really, like I said, they're not taking it seriously. So we're giving everyone the opportunity to hold strong, and we've made it very clear that that's what they need to do to ensure really that our industry can continue to do what we're doing, right?
Melanie, I think that's a wonderful answer for us to kind of wind up our conversation this morning. And maybe just a quick comment. As Mike noted, social media is playing a bigger and bigger role in our lives. And there is no shortage of commentary on whether our industry should be an essential service or not. And there's some commentary, both fair and unfair, in terms of the efforts that we're making. And really what you said, Melanie, there is you've really given the latitude to your staff to ensure that they have a safe workplace, and manifestly making sure that's the commitment, I think really will serve us well as an industry in being able to point out to those who don't think we're doing our part that it is a shared responsibility, and everyone has the opportunity to ensure that they're working in a safe workplace. So thanks for that. It looks like we're kind of mostly out of questions. A few more about SAFE that I think might be taken offline. There was one question earlier that I'll just put to our speakers. There's a hope that you would put your email addresses if there's some follow-up questions. So hoping that you'll be amenable to that when we post this video online. I want to also make clear that the ideas presented this morning are a tremendous exercise of the goodwill of the members who shared their experiences. So thank you very much for that. There are all sorts of solutions. These might not be the only ones, but we're very grateful to Melanie, you, and Mike, both of you as well, for what you've undertaken this morning and your commitment to our industry, keeping our economy going and keeping everyone safe. So thanks very much for that. And we are pretty much at time here this morning. So thank you all for joining us. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you in another week's time for another one of our safety forums. So thank you very much, everyone, and stay safe. And for those of you still hanging in, a recording of this will be available online later today. Thanks once again for all of you taking the time to participate.